this video, last attempts that I've tried to make this video, I've said video and just rambled on. But this video is going to be a different take. I won't be talking about something or anything that has to do with politics or social issues. The reality is that I enjoy those topics, but I've always enjoyed the entertainment industry as a whole, especially when it comes to movies, comics, TV shows, and books. So this is something that I've always wanted to do. I feel like the niche is a little bit saturated. People have like their go-tos when it comes to like movie reviews. I certainly know that I have a few people that I watch their reviews religiously, even if I don't always agree with their takes. So I know it's something that, you might already have somebody that you like that review movies. But I've always wanted to try and get into it, but I barely have time. I said this before, I barely have time to sit down and record videos. So yeah, so this is what's gonna happen, I guess. When I do enjoy a movie or a TV show a lot, I'll just sit down and record this either in my car or wherever I'm at. So yeah, so that's basically a little bit of why I want to start doing this, I guess. In a sense, I've always been very interested in movies, TV shows, books, and dissecting all of that. So it kind of makes sense, right? So I will try to the best of my ability to not give any spoilers for the Batman, because the reality is that I know that a lot of people are going to start watching it today. So it launched and premiered today worldwide. So I know that a lot of people that either had the screeners before or the fan screeners before the movie came out, well, obviously it's hard to contain the excitement or whatever it is your opinion of the movie is. But I'll try my best to not spoil it. So one of the things that I have noticed, right, of people talking about the movie is that you have people that are split in what to think about the movie or what they think about the movie as a whole, right? If you're a die-hard Batman fan and somebody that actually has read comics about Batman, whatever iteration it is, then you'll actually enjoy this movie a lot. And you'll find a lot of references from different comics and inspirations that they took from. Because as opposed to other iterations of Batman, in a sense, this one is a little bit more grounded and a little bit more based on the actual comics, as opposed to, well, they take inspiration from the comics, but they just redo the whole thing. I think the Christopher Nolan movies are actually pretty great, but I feel that they do follow this formula of making it a superhero movie in a sense that it looks cliche. Like, you still feel like you watch the Christopher Nolan movies and they're great and they're very grounded, but it's like a classic superhero movie. You would bundle them or put them in the same spectrum like you would do any MCU movie, right? And some DC movies from the past to a certain extent, right? Because it is a superhero movie, there's some fantastical elements to them. Even Zack Snyder's take of Batman v Superman is still that fantastical take on the character. Whereas I think Matt Reeves actually brings it a lot more down to earth, that it works and that it actually makes sense for Batman. Because if you're not familiar with the comics, if you're only familiar with the formula of the MCU and how they've handled superhero movies, then you'll probably either like it because you understand the depth of it, or not like it because you're just awaiting something that is very superficial in the broader picture, and you're just looking for something to look at and be entertained and not follow the story as much. The plot within itself, and the story is very, very well done. It takes inspiration from different comic books and actually creates a story that is compelling, but still stays true to what Batman is. Zero Year is a big influence. The Long Halloween is also a big influence for this movie. Maybe to a certain extent, Year One comic book, I think it's another one that I can say that probably takes inspiration from. And Nomadland, that's like, if you read the comics, if you know about them, you'll notice those references all throughout the movie, which I think was spectacular. It is, in a sense, and I think this has been mentioned before, and I think Matt Reeves even mentioned this, it is a detective movie. Like, it literally is a detective movie. Is Batman in detective mode from start to finish, which I appreciate, because in the grand scheme of things, the Batman is that. The Batman is the world's greatest detective. That is what he is, right? That is what the Batman is. So I think the fact that they were able to pull it off to the extent that they pulled it off in this movie is just beautiful within itself. It's breathtaking. The cinematography on fucking point. Like, every single little detail on point. The characters and their development, amazing. All of them. And for all the talk about Pattinson not being able to deliver, I think he's actually delivered one of my top favorite performances for the Batman as of now. Like, it's just, I can say that probably Christian Bale, to a certain extent, is, like, you know, is second. But Pattinson's Batman is more accurate to the comic books. Aside from the fact that it is a Batman that is actually starting off, in a sense. Once you see the movie, you understand what that means. He's, in a sense, starting off. He still has a lot of skills. His skill set is not just, starting. He has developed them through time, and it shows. But there's elements throughout the movie, if once you watch it, that you're gonna understand that, yes, it is a much more, I would say, child Batman. It's just, let's put it, if we're putting them in age, he would be like a teenager almost getting to his 20s or early 20s. That's basically what he would be in the level of maturity when it comes to his skills and the way that he is when he is Batman, right? I think that's a somewhat good analogy. I could probably cook up something better, but whatever. We're doing this without a script, so here we are. So I think in that sense, that's the reason why I actually loved it so much, because you see the humanity in Batman, whereas in past iterations, you see the humanity, but it's like Batman is still OP in a sense. Like, there's this fantastical superhero element to the movies that you're like, well, he's gonna get out of this, he's gonna do this perfectly. There's one scene in particular in the movie that I adore, but it speaks to this broader it speaks to what I'm alluding to, which is that he is still somewhat trying to figure out how to do certain things. Once you see that scene, you're gonna be like, oh, okay. Because when I saw the scene, I'm like, yeah, that would literally be me if I would to do that. That's literally, that is the human take of things, right? Instead of this fantastical superhero like scene that you're like, oh my god, that's amazing. No, it actually grounds it more because it makes him human. All of the other cast, I don't want to go very into depth because we're already at 10 minutes and I don't want to make this a 20-minute video, but every single person in that movie is fucking amazing. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, amazing. I know a lot of people are gonna have their favorites when it comes to Catwoman, but I actually think she delivered an amazing performance, like an amazing performance. Colin Farrell as the Penguin, chef's kiss. Like, wow. Yes, they have to keep on going with the Penguin spinoff. I think it would actually benefit him a lot, and it would actually benefit a sequel if there is one for the Batman. It would benefit them if they do it, because once you see the movie, you'll understand why that would be actually a very great move from Warner Brothers if they are able to pull off the spinoff for the Penguin. And I think Gordon, amazing. The chemistry between Gordon and Batman is just spot on, like spot on. It's wow, amazing. It really is comic book accurate. It's phenomenal. Now, the person that actually stole the show for me was the Riddler. Paul, I forgot his last name. Paul Dano? Yeah, I think it's Paul Dano, right? Wow. There is nothing more that I can say but wow. Like, it at least in my view, it's literally up there with Heath Ledger's Joker. That's how fucking amazing this iteration of the Riddler is. And you'll see certain things throughout the movie that you're like, okay, this is... If you will look at the movie from the lens of, oh, well, like, this isn't how I would picture it, because it doesn't have this fantastical and, like, wow element, to the sense when you see villains in superhero movies, you see them as this... I want to say devilish type of feel, like, you know, this spiritual type of thing. Like, you look at them and you're like, wow, they're amazing, because visually they look amazing. Every single little thing in the Batman is so grounded and so realistic to what in reality it would be, that I think that that's what makes it so amazing. Because we're talking about a person that plays a vigilante. Like, he's a superhero in a sense. Batman is a superhero in a sense, but he's still a human being. He just has the tech and the money to be able to pull all these things. And when it comes to a lot of his villains, like, you take the Riddler, you take the Joker, you take, like, even Mr. Freeze, like, all of these Penguin, all of these villains are very much human in nature, right? So there are humans in two sides of the spectrum, very evil, nasty human beings, and then good, hopeful, trying to make things better type of humans, right? So in a sense, it's just like us. So that's one of the things that I've always loved about Batman, is the fact that it is well grounded and it does speak to humanity in a broader sense. The movie tackles a lot of topics within it, but it is, again, very Batman-y, if it makes sense. Like, it makes sense in how real it is, because that is how I would envision if Batman were a thing in real life. That's basically how I would see it. And again, it would all come back to that one scene, hopefully when you guys watch it, and if you watch all this through, you'll notice what scene I'm talking about. That one scene is just... It sums up everything when it comes to how grounded the movie is. I loved it. I really hope that they can actually blow it out of the park in the box office. The Batman has always been a staple when it comes to pop culture, so I don't think they'll actually have a hard time to make money in the box office and greenlit a second movie. The reality is that it would be in the benefit of Warner Brothers if they did greenlit a second movie, because it would just extend the story further and actually make it complete. The movie's amazing. Go watch it. I, for one, am thinking if I have the time, I'll go watch it again. But wow, just fucking amazing.